The Yankees are waiting to win that opening series. It's not too early to hope for wins. April matters.
Cue the music.
Welcome to the upper deck for Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Chris, that's Lynn. Thanks for spending some of your Sunday with us.
Great to be here. Looking forward to this discussion. Already a lot of buzz going around, Chris.
Already Yankees Twitter is being Yankees Twitter. It'd be disappointing if they weren't.
Yep, and Yankees Twitter is never one to disappoint. And so last night the game didn't go the way anyone would want.
No.
And if there's any good money to lay down on a bet, it's that Yankees Twitter had things to say about it. And so I thought I would throw up this thread from a tweet that Nestor Zapple put out, where he said, he's acknowledging it was an aggravating way to lose. Also, just one game, which I'm sure won't matter to those who enjoy overreacting. Nestor Zapple knows his knows his fan base.
He knows his Yankees Twitter.
And then, right beneath it, is it overreacting to say this is the same shit we've seen in the postseason for the last decade plus? Let's drop the pretense of one game for a minute here. I'm adding the tone, but
I get it.
And then the voice of reason. Here's the peacemaker. Abby says, "Bro, offense looks good. Volpe got his first hit. Umps were bad, and we should talk about that.
Yeah.
And Clark struggled. It's not the end of the world."
Right. And that, Lynn, that is such a perfect thread to throw up there. I'm eager to know which side of the fence you're on. Is it too early or too late already?
Well, so here's the thing. There's two sides coming out of my mouth right now. One is, Yankee fan purists know that every game counts. Doesn't matter that it's game one or game two. Every win counts. And yet, also as a fan, you know that at the very beginning of the season, there's some new things going on. Case in point, Schmidt. This was his first outing officially as a starting pitcher in the stadium in the opening series, and clearly didn't bring his stuff. But taken out after 3 1/3. But now the cries. I wanted to set a timer. 5, 4. I think it was in about 3 seconds. He never should have been taken out of the bullpen. He just doesn't have it to be. He is not a starting pitcher, and on it went from there. So, right. And there's dozens of examples of that. But yeah, April, of course it matters. This rubber game matters.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. April is not insignificant. Let's put it this way. I think teams have lost the season in April for sure. But I can't say off the top of my head who I last remember doing that, but I would say at least that's possible. But that's certainly not happening in the case of the New York Yankees so far this season. But as far as Schmidt goes, it's a shame that we are seeing him in the number 2 spot so early in the season. Let's talk about that. Has he been groomed for this spot? Is he up to the challenge? Yesterday, maybe he had some jitters.
Yes, that's. I mean, he is a human being. Last I checked, and so that's entirely possible. And spring again, like so many other examples we have. He won that role during spring training, and so does he need another chance or two? Do we have a choice right now anyhow? And
Yeah.
you look at the
No.
bullpen, we really don't. And we'll talk about what followed after Schmidt, which is would kind of prove that point.
Right.
And MJ, you're 100% right. And actually, during the game yesterday, Donaldson comes right to mind when it comes to that home plate umpire, who I hope is at Sterling Optical this morning getting his eye checked and a new prescription, because those pitches, and I wish I'd kept the snapshot. Those pitches to Donaldson were so outside. I live 10 miles from the stadium and it hit my house. To call him out, and Donaldson kept himself in check, but yeah, all accountability on the field to the guys, but the umps take a big part in what the outcomes of the game, and there are some pretty lousy calls that we'll never know if called right would have made a difference.
Right. And I want to go back for a minute to what your original little post there. And Lori's got a point. She says he is right. Every flaw from last season was on display yesterday. And why would she say this? But the reason being that the only changes are Cabrera and Volpe in the lineup. With those two exceptions, they rolled out the same team as they rolled out last year. How do we feel about that? Where is the big move? I mean, the youngster starting is what fans asked for.
Yep, and we got it. And luckily, and I just had to put that up from Lori because I love a good pun. We got what we wanted from Volpe. First hit yesterday, stolen base each of the games, consistency on the field. And so we got what we want. Any mention of that anywhere? Except from the voice of reason in that tweet exchange a minute ago.
Oh, that's funny. Yes, exactly. And Volpe is as advertised. He's as good as advertised. He also, after the game, took some accountability, which I thought was very upstanding but unnecessary. He's not necessarily the one who left all those men on base, and his defensive, lack of acumen, perhaps at one point, was not glaring.
Right, but I think Volpe, and a lot of signs have pointed to this already, is just very, very upstanding and takes high accountability, even when it's not necessary, to your point. And FJ, you're right. He sparked what should have been a winning ninth inning. And the guys just didn't back him up. And by the way, that we talked about this with the guys the other day. I like him at the ninth spot. I'm not saying that he should be there forever, but it's like being the leadoff in certain points, and that paid off yesterday. When he got on base and then was followed by the top of the order, some things started to happen until my guy Stanton kind of made all that go away. Hey, morning, Eli.
Yes, morning.
Eli, your odds are a lot better than some of the tweets I saw last night.
Yes.
If
I had to say whether I was 50-50, probably is pretty accurate at the moment, but I feel more optimistic than that about this team, and only because the pitching is not down for the count. We before April's over, we should have Rodon back. Isn't that right?
That's right. If that's accurate, which we won't know until it happens.
Right. And Severino, although there's no timetable, it doesn't sound like Severino's injury is anything that should be months in the rehabbing. But you never know. I know it's Sevy, though.
And right. It's Sevy. And, he's another one that, we always complain about the players wrapped in bubble wrap. But Yankees should take their time. I can't believe I'm saying this, but, make good and sure that Sevy is solid Sevy and not, straining Sevy, because he has a history, and has missed so much time on the mound as it is.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I'm more concerned about Sevy, maybe less concerned about Rodon, but
Right.
that could be, I don't know Rodon as deeply yet as I should by now.
Right.
But, we're in trouble with that starting rotation.
Well, and some words I never thought I'd say was it's Brito Day, and yet it is. So we have Johnny Brito today, and I know, Lynn, you're very high on this young pitcher.
I'm excited about him, and I have no baseball IQ to back this up in terms of numbers per se. Didn't put the work in to have those to throw up here, but
No.
you know, I have a gut. I have a gut about him and the stuff that I have seen so far. And
Right.
and he did have a strong spring training, and this seems to be the season of youth. And so, let's see now, early in the season. Not that it doesn't count, so don't jump on me, anyone. But what better time than when he's needed, and we don't have much selection. I'm excited to see what he does. I'm excited to get that data around how he does during a rubber game.
Right. Absolutely. And if only we had that big move that was predicted. Was that by Boone earlier in the week, or was it Boone that said that something's still coming? I forget, but anyway,
Yeah.
what we ended up what happened was we got Franchi Cordero, right?
Yep.
And we also got Colton Brewer this week. Two acquisitions that are these what we're waiting for?
Well, it's another one of those head scratchers, right? Because
I agree.
Colton Brewer is a righty reliever, and I read somewhere that he's there for low leverage situations. And you want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because during his entire career, he has a 34.8% strikeout rate and a 65.3% contact rate.
What's she doing?
You want to flip those numbers the other way around, and even then you wouldn't be so great. And his career ERA is 5.04. But surprise!
Yeah, so I guess depth for Colton Brewer, although Esteban Florial was DFA'd to accommodate him, as I understand.
Right.
Bye Florial. He had opportunities. Florial had opportunities.
He did.
He could have taken that job.
Right. And Florial is one of those guys that, I don't think, well, no, let me not say that, because I do know our fan base. I believe that, and I really hope he has success in a different franchise.
Yes.
And has a place of staying and proper daily play. And I think there's a spot for him for that. I don't see him resting for long without assignment. But he brought in Cordero and sent down Calhoun.
Right.
And so, and again, Cordero is another spotty suspect, because he's inconsistent, and his numbers show that. He hits for power, and his top exit velo was at 118 miles per hour. Okay, but that's good when it happens and it's a surprise. But if you're not going to be that power hitter that's producing on a consistent basis and in clutch situations, why get him? We already have those kind of guys on our bench. So, and certainly Calhoun, I don't get the choice there. The power isn't the problem; it's the consistency. He has a career high, Chris, of 8 home runs.
Oh, okay. Well,
He has the power.
he's got the power.
I
Bring
got
it
the
on.
power. Yeah. Nothing to show for it. 8 hits.
In other words, we did not get the big move we've been waiting for, actually, since the offseason. We're not getting that big move. We're going to go with Brito and Schmidt until our Severino and Rodon are healthy. Or what about Garcia? Could he come up and take a start? That would be impressive. He had a good spring.
I know that's how you feel, Chris, right?
Oh, yeah, Garcia. Yeah. I think he had a good game the other day. I always like him. I think he's got some good points. And again, he's had some opportunities, but he's matured. He's got another year under his belt. If we're giving Schmidt and Brito a chance, why not?
Absolutely, why not? And Spencer agrees with you. Oh, Spencer's actually saying he's not a believer in Davey.
Okay. Valid.
Okay. Oh, by the way, Elliot, Spencer's coming to us, waiting the ShopRite parking lot. I'm just presuming there's a can sale going on or something. Right. Yeah. Okay. And so IKF is in the infield, as you started to say, Chris. Do you want me to do you want to talk about the lineup in general?
I think we should talk about the lineup. And he's not in the infield; he's on the outfield.
Yep.
He's in center field today. IKF is in center field today. I don't explain that to me.
Yep. So we have, So this ought to be an interesting day on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because does anyone get this? Does anyone understand why they would pull IKF off the bench to start there? This is a big surprise. And hey, Uncle Tats is reporting from Yankee Stadium. Hey, Uncle Tats.
Right,
Tats. So
I guess DJ needs a day of rest already. Is this a Yankee thing?
Yeah, a DJ 2 games down needs to take a nap.
Yes. Yes, welcome.
Whoops.
Hey, Tats.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't hear too well.
Okay, so what do you got to say from the stadium?
How's things? Well, we're not going to have that live interview with Tats at the moment, but Lucky Man is at the stadium today.
Yep. So, and hopefully he'll see a good game and a winning game for the series. But
right.
This
and
lineup.
Going back to the lineup, Stanton, of course, is at the DH, which is why. So Stanton can't play 2 games in the field. Is that right? In a row? Because remember, he already had the day off. So we'll just be watching this strategy unfold as the season goes on.
Yeah, because they're estimating, 60 games in right field. So looking at the number of games so far, that's already shooting under budget with that prediction. Yeah. And FJ, yeah, they don't want to put him in 3 straight days.
I guess that. Why does IKF need to play on the 3rd day of the season? Why are we benching someone for this?
And why are we putting him in an unaccustomed position, at least in his time with the Yankees, on a rubber game day?
As if we are starved for center field for outfielders,
right?
Which we're not.
Yeah.
Well, it gives us something right away to complain about. So I feel like once again I'm upholding the best of Yankees Twitter, because I'm already complaining.
Well, and we have the right, and even if we didn't have the right, that's what we do, and
Right.
and we'll do, and we'll always do. So before we talk
I got
more,
a stupid question.
yeah,
Does IKF bat? Does he bats right? Is that correct?
he's a righty.
He's a righty. Okay, just checking, making sure that that's
You're
not the logic.
You're searching for reason.
I'm searching.
You're searching for something logical.
It doesn't
I don't
exist.
know. So, and going back to Brito for a minute, I have a question too. Yes, last night was a bullpen game. And so what are our predictions about today, knowing that yesterday we already used up Wandy, King, Abreu, Holmes, and I'm missing somebody, Chris.
Yeah. The last one was Cordero.
And Cordero. We got our first sample size there. So what can we expect today? Do we think Brito is gonna settle in better? I think that Brito has some time already at Yankee Stadium, and I'm hoping that that'll be to his advantage. And I'm hoping that we're not, the bullpen that came in didn't exactly cure anything or help anything or move anything along. But what do we have left? And, and by the end of today, if we have another stacking rotate bullpen going in, then we've already within 2 games used up the bullpen. What does that say about the next game? It's just not a good pitching situation all the way around.
It says that we can probably expect Brito to go 5 or under, as was the case with Schmidt yesterday. I mean, it seems like the Giants are not willing to hit like a sub-tier team. They came out swinging yesterday. Brandon Crawford, my God,
Yeah.
Cole's brother-in-law was kicking butt.
Yeah, he had a hell of a game last night. Hated to see it, but he did.
Hate to see that. I hate to see that happen.
Yep, and no doubt, Ella, can't disagree with that. The bullpen, well, oh wait, I didn't read that second part. By May 3rd, I know you're being, cute there, but it's all going to depend on if we're in this situation that long. I would hope that we get some of our, Rodon and Sevy back before we hit May, but a girl can dream and is often disappointed. Yeah, and there's a question in the chat. I think I just already. Oh, FJ is asking Chris, why is Torres leading off?
Why is Torres leading off?
What do you think?
That's because DJ has the day off. I mean, who's gonna? Volpe, let's see, is down in the 9th spot again. So they obviously like to bring him up, have the kick at the end of the lineup to bring us back up to the top. But I mean, Gleyber Torres, he's capable of some fireworks, right?
Certainly capable.
Gleyber can hit it.
It's certainly capable, and we could hope for it. And my first answer would have been to get him out of the way. Why did the chicken cross the road? Because then we have Judge. But of course I want Gleyber to do something there. But I agree, that's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah,
and it goes back to Chris's question about why is DJ not in this lineup?
Yeah, it just and it's Judge has been Judge so far. The captain has been so impressive out of the gate. He hit the first home run of the MLB season, not just for the Yankees, but in MLB. That just kicked ass.
Yeah, that was great to see. So, and it depends, Chris. Some people think that's 1 out of 65 he'll hit this season. Others are going as low as 1 out of 45 he'll hit this season, but he's on his way. One down. And it's apples to oranges, but Volpe got his first hit out of the way.
Yep.
2 stolen bases in the first 2 games. So, and I think we might have mentioned that at the top, but that jumped to mind too. Something that felt familiar in a really bad way yesterday was that acronym that I hate, RISP.
Yep.
So Bob Lorenz shared during the post game that the Yankees were 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position last night in yesterday's game. And so when you look at that lineup, can't blame it all on the ump.
No.
And so, and the Giants did bring their game last night. To your point about the brother-in-law there, who was pissing Cole off. Funny that we didn't get any shots of Cole in the dugout last night.
Right.
Yeah.
My God.
So what else is on?
Donaldson got a home run, and so the Donaldson resurgence bandwagon fans feel vindicated.
Yeah, so all those, and I'm among them, all those Donaldson naysayers didn't seem so unhappy in that moment.
No.
The question is going to be, was that, we're saying this a lot already this season, was that lightning in the bottle? Well, I guess we'll find out.
I think that the L.I. King, Yankee King, has an interesting point there about Yankee fans. A bunch of hypocrites. Yes, I feel like a hypocrite myself. I'm happy to have Cabrera and Volpe in the lineup, and yet at the same time, I feel like the lineup still needs a lefty hitter. The lineup still needs more. If Donaldson doesn't produce, woe to the lineup this year.
Oh, absolutely. And, let's face it, we're fickle. We're fickle. we are the fickle fans. So, and we love ourselves, but that's who we are. And so we'll love you until we hate you, and you better produce so that we love you much more often than we hate you.
Absolutely.
And that's just the way we roll. Not making excuses for it, but that's just how we've been. And that goes back to why everyone was so upset last night, because we're of the mentality of every game counts, and damn it, we should have had that game.
Yeah.
But all right, so we have 160 games left to get to our projected, number of wins and get that top spot.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I have to agree, Michael. Michael H. But Donaldson was surprised he hit the home run. I think you're right, and I hope he surprises himself every game, one way or another.
So, I'm not rooting against Donaldson. Don't get me wrong. Last year is over. Donaldson, if he can go out there and produce this year, I swear I'll buy a Donaldson t-shirt. I'll buy a Donaldson jersey if he goes out. If he hits 25 home runs, 250 average, I'll buy a Donaldson jersey.
You heard it here first, folks.
I'm on board for the Donaldson resurgence.
Yep, and I'll see your down and raise it with, I'll change my name to Josh Donaldson Resurgence Bandwagon. If that happens, Chris. In solidarity with you.
Yep.
there's our throwdowns.
Yeah, there's our throwdowns for this week. Lynn, have we got trivia?
We do. And as usual, thank you to our friend Spencer. I'm going to throw it up on the screen, especially because this week's is a doozy. Okay, so I'm hoping this might be a little spotty. I'm hoping you can see it. But opening day 2023, MLB introduced significant, some may say radical, new rules. 50 years ago, the 1973 baseball season also began with a radical new rule, the American League designated hitter. Yankee fans take pride in the fact that Ron Blomberg was the first ever designated hitter. So I love that Spencer always leads with a bit of context and Yankee history. And talk about throwdowns. Spencer's throwing down a challenge here. And he is giving 2 levels of difficulty here. The first one being the highest level of difficulty. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh boy. I just ruined it. Sorry, Spencer. Maybe no one saw it because it's too small on the screen.
This is the week of glitches.
Oh, there it was. We almost made it through the show. Anyway, who was the last New York Yankee pitcher to bat before the AL designated hitter rule? And because that one was difficult, this one is easy.
Actually, what's funny is I did not even see the answer, so
I'm hoping everyone couldn't.
I didn't see it.
Who was the last New York Yankee pitcher ever to bat in a game? So the first question, who was the last New York Yankee pitcher to bat before the AL designated hitter rule? And the next one was, who was the last New York Yankee pitcher ever to bat in a game?
Excellent questions.
Thank you.
Every week I look forward to hearing what Spencer's got for us.
Yep. And so now we're about 90 minutes away from the rubber game.
Absolutely.
We're just going to assume a win.
We're going to manifest a win.
Yep, that's it. Let's pray it into existence, folks.
Right, let's bring it. All right. And
yep.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, find us on Twitter. We love to chat anywhere we are. Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, although I don't see many. I don't do much on there myself. Are you on Instagram?
Theoretically, yes, but
theoretically, right.
I really haven't done the gram. But
find us on Twitter.
Right. Find us right here. And thank you for finding us every week. Our friends in the chat, we appreciate you. We look forward to having you co-host with us every week. And as always, you'll always have a reserved seat right here, right behind me, with Chris and me on the upper deck.
Let's go Yankees!